Israel-Gaza Iran War News Live Update. To increase relief, Israel's army will suspend daytime fighting in southern Gaza. In order to facilitate the delivery of increasing quantities of humanitarian aid, the Israeli military has declared a tactical halt in its attack in the southern Gaza Strip. Torah portion Israeli forces have promised a day-long truce along the southern Gaza corridor to let humanitarian relief supplies to catch up and reach the desperate Palestinians who are suffering under the war's humanitarian crisis, which has persisted for 9 months. The United States, along with the rest of the international community, has been calling for a total cessation of hostilities in the besieged enclave of Rafah, and the military's tactical pause, which covers approximately 12 kilometers, 7.4 miles, of road, does not go nearly far enough. If the temporary truce persists, the brief cessation of hostilities may provide relief for Palestinians whose already enormous needs have grown in the wake of Israel's invasion of Rafah. Starting at 8 a.m., 5 o'clock GMT, the stoppage will be in place until 7 p.m., 16 o'clock GMT, according to the Army. Until further notice, it stated, the pauses will occur daily. The military announced the suspension so that relief vehicles can safely proceed to the Salah Aden Highway, a vital north-south thoroughfare, and the adjacent Israel-controlled Kerem Shalom crossing, the primary entrance point for arriving aid. In early May, Israeli ground troops entered Rafah, causing the border to experience a backlog. The pipeline would enhance the delivery of aid to other areas of Gaza, including Khan Yunis, Mawasi, and central Gaza, according to Kogad, the Israeli military department responsible for aid distribution in Gaza. Northern Gaza, which was a primary target during the conflict, is now receiving supplies via a northern crossing. Following talks with the UN and foreign humanitarian agencies, the military announced the Sunday truce, which starts as Muslims in Gaza and abroad began celebrating the significant Eid al-Adha holiday. The military said that fighting is continuing unabated in the remainder of southern Gaza and that there has been no change on the entry of supplies generally, in response to criticism over the move from ultranationalists inside Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's administration who are against a ceasefire in the war. The United Nations and other aid organizations did not immediately return messages seeking comment. An official from the United Nations Agency for Palestinians, Scott Anderson, expressed optimism to CNN that the suspension would bring in much-needed help for the population. During the most concentrated diplomatic effort by the Obama administration to end the fighting and free hostages held by the militant group, President Joe Biden laid out a plan for a ceasefire, which Israel and Hamas are currently considering. This plan has caused a pause along the southern route. Despite Biden characterizing the idea as Israeli, Israel has not completely accepted it, and Hamas has requested modifications that Israel finds unacceptable. Israel confirmed Sunday the identities of 11 soldiers killed in recent attacks in Gaza, including one who succumbed to injuries received in an attack last week. The violence has not ceased. That brings the total number of Israeli casualties in the past year's ground invasion of Gaza to 308 soldiers. According to Israeli police, Hamas attacked on October 7, killing 1,200 people and holding 250 captive. Officials in Gaza, which is under Hamas control, have said that over 37,000 Palestinians have lost their lives due to the conflict. UN reports indicate that hundreds of thousands of people are on the verge of starvation, and Israel's 8-month military campaign against Hamas, which began in response to the militant group's attack on October 7, has thrown Gaza into a humanitarian catastrophe. Fighting has persisted throughout the war, even in Rafah, making it more difficult to transport aid, and the international community has demanded that Israel do more to alleviate the pressure. Statistics from the United Nations Humanitarian Agency, often known as OCHA, show that between May 6 and June 6, the organization received an average of 68 trucks of supplies per day. Aid organizations had called for 500 trucks per day, therefore this is a significant decrease from the 168 trucks per day in April. As the humanitarian crisis in southern Gaza intensified, the flow of relief dwindled. Following the assault, over 1 million Palestinians, including many who had previously been displaced, rushed out of Rafah and into different areas of central and southern Gaza. Now the majority of them are wallowing in makeshift tent cities, where they use ditches as toilets and open sewage flows freely in the streets. Trucks are free to enter, according to Kogat. Between May 2 and June 13, an average of 201 trucks per day, across all types of trucks, entered Gaza from all crossings, for a total of over 8,600 trucks. A large portion of the help, however, has remained at the crossings rather than having arrived at its intended destination. Shimon Friedman, a Kogat spokesman, blamed the United Nations for the accumulation of its cargo on the Gaza side of Kerem Shalom. He claimed that the government organizations are facing basic logistical challenges that they have not fixed, namely an inadequate supply of vehicles. International organizations strongly refute these claims. It states that UN vehicles operating within Gaza are frequently unable to reach Kerem Shalom, which is located adjacent to Israel's border, due to the dangers posed by the conflict between Israel and Hamas. Also, according to the report, deliveries have been going more slowly than usual since drivers need the green light from the Israeli military before they can get to the site. Israel claims this system is in place to ensure the safety of its drivers. The absence of security in Gaza has led to looting of assistance vehicles as they travel through the city. With the new system in place, truckers will have an 11-hour window each day to enter and exit the crossing without interruption, hopefully reducing the need for delivery coordination. The Army's willingness to provide security to safeguard the relief vehicles as they traveled along the highway was unclear at the time.